Hi, my name is Sarah Whitmore, and what I am about to share with you is not just a story, it is a divine revelation that shook me to my core. I died, and in that moment, Jesus himself revealed why so many of his chosen ones are either alone or struggling financially. This is not just my experience. This is a message straight from the Lord that every believer needs to hear. What started as an ordinary workday turned into a supernatural encounter that changed my life forever. What I saw, what I heard, every word Jesus spoke was a direct answer to a question that has tormented believers for generations. Why are God's chosen ones suffering? Why does it seem like those who are faithful, those who seek righteousness, often walk the hardest paths, alone, abandoned, and struggling just to make ends meet? Jesus gave me the answer, and I know beyond any doubt that he wants you to hear it too. Now, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your country, your city in the comments below. I want to see how far this message is reaching. And if this resonates with you, if you felt the weight of these struggles, let's talk about it in the comments. Share your thoughts, your experiences. Let's create a space where believers can come together, learn, and support one another through this journey. Most importantly, watch this testimony to the very end, because what Jesus revealed will change your life. I am a 54-year-old health psychologist at Toronto General Hospital, dedicated to understanding the connection between mental and physical health. Yet, despite my expertise, nothing could have prepared me for the supernatural encounter that transformed my life. Raised in a Christian home, I was taught faith, trust, and obedience to God from childhood. My faith has been my foundation, guiding me through every challenge in life. Though my faith is strong, I have endured relentless struggles, remaining single and facing ongoing financial hardship. Despite faithfully tithing and living a godly life, financial breakthroughs and a life partner have always eluded me. 7 years ago, the father of my 3 children, Nathan, 24, Rebecca, 21, and Daniel, 18, abandoned us, leaving me to shoulder the burden alone. I was left with mounting debts and the overwhelming pressure of providing for my family. I worked tirelessly, trying to keep everything together. But no matter how hard I pushed forward, financial stability always seemed just beyond my grasp. In desperation, I often cried out to God, questioning why he allowed my suffering. I had no answers until the night I died and stood face to face with Jesus. It happened on March 5th, 2023, at exactly 1:30 a.m. I started experiencing severe pain throughout the day while at work. I ignored the symptoms, assuming it was just fatigue from sitting for long hours. Little did I know that something far more serious was happening inside me. The pain worsened, and I was rushed to the hospital emergency department, where doctors diagnosed me with a perforated ulcer. The ulcer had caused leakage of stomach contents into my abdomen, a life-threatening condition requiring immediate surgery. Just before going under anesthesia, I whispered a simple prayer. Lord, please watch over my children. I had no idea that this prayer would lead to an extraordinary spiritual experience. Moments later, everything went black. My heart stopped on the operating table, and I felt myself being pulled away from my body. I looked down and saw my own lifeless form on the table as the medical team worked frantically to revive me. The separation was not painful or frightening. Instead, it felt like being gently lifted from a pool of water, weightless and free. I felt no anxiety, only a deep sense of calm. I watched as the doctors and nurses struggled to save me. I could hear the monitors blaring alarms, signaling the emergency. Despite the chaos unfolding below, I felt a perfect and unshakable peace. Then came the light. It was not just an ordinary light, but something alive and full of love. Pure truth radiated from it. more real than anything I had ever experienced in life. The warmth and peace it carried were beyond words. Every moment of my life played before me in an instant. I saw every choice and experience not as memories, but as if they were all happening in what I can only describe as an eternal now. The clarity was overwhelming yet comforting. I heard my name, Sarah. The voice carried unimaginable love that reshaped my very being. It was not just sound, it was truth, love, and power all at once. I turned, and there he was, Jesus Christ, standing before me. His presence radiated such holiness and authority that I immediately knew I was in the presence of the Son of God. His eyes held wisdom beyond the universe, seeing through me completely. Yet, instead of judgment, they carried deep, personal love. I felt fully known and completely accepted. His scars radiated light, and in that single moment, I understood the depth of his sacrifice. They told the story of redemption, not just in words, but in a way that went straight to my soul. He looked at me and said, "My daughter." The words carried deep affection and spiritual belonging. He acknowledged that I and many other chosen ones had been living alone and struggling financially. Then he assured me that I would now understand why this was happening. Jesus showed me a vision of relationships in my life. I saw moments where I had given my all to others, yet received little in return. He revealed that chosen ones radiate a unique spiritual energy, a light that attracts many, yet few can truly reciprocate. I saw countless instances where I had poured into people, offering love, support, and encouragement, only to be left feeling drained. Jesus explained that many are drawn to the strength and warmth of chosen ones, but without the same spiritual capacity, they unconsciously take more than they give. This imbalance creates a deep exhaustion, pushing chosen ones into solitude to preserve their spiritual well-being. I saw relationships that had once felt promising but had, in reality, distanced me from my divine calling. In some instances, my desire for companionship had led me to compromise my spiritual growth. Jesus showed me moments when I had ignored his voice, choosing relationships that dulled my purpose rather than sharpening it. I saw clearly that each heartbreak and betrayal had been a necessary redirection, not rejection. He had been protecting me, not punishing me. I saw a group of people, each radiating an energy unique to their spiritual state. Jesus pointed out that those who walk closely with him vibrate at a higher spiritual frequency, one of peace, love, and divine purpose. This frequency, however, can feel unsettling to those who operate from fear, doubt, or superficiality. Jesus explained that this energy imbalance is why chosen ones often struggle to maintain relationships. True and lasting connections can only be formed with those willing to grow spiritually and embrace divine wisdom. I saw moments when I had walked into a room and felt the tension shift. I had always assumed it was just my imagination, but now Jesus revealed the truth. Many people with unresolved wounds and hidden sins find it uncomfortable to be in the presence of those who carry God's light. Jesus explained that chosen ones act as spiritual mirrors. Their presence naturally exposes what others try to keep hidden. Because of this, people may withdraw, avoid, or even lash out at them, not because of any fault of their own, but because light always reveals darkness. Jesus assured me that seasons of loneliness are not punishments, but preparation. He showed me how many chosen ones become restless in their solitude, wondering why they must wait so long for companionship, success, or breakthroughs. He gently explained that these waiting periods are not wasted. The universe is aligning circumstances, energy, and relationships for the right moment, according to God's perfect plan. Jesus then revealed a battlefield where spiritual forces warred over the finances of chosen ones. I saw demonic entities actively working to create financial barriers, not as random misfortunes, but as strategic attacks designed to keep God's chosen ones from fulfilling their divine purpose. Jesus made it clear, financial attacks are not just hardships, they are confirmations. The enemy targets those with significant kingdom assignments because financial resources empower believers to fund the gospel, support missions, and reach the lost. I saw a vision of chosen ones who, if financially stable, would have transformed communities, built ministries, and influenced high places for God's glory. The enemy's fear was not in them being wealthy, but in them using that wealth to expand the kingdom. I saw ancestral covenants where past generations had unknowingly dedicated their bloodlines to spirits of poverty through idol worship, occult practices, or dishonest financial dealings. These agreements granted demons legal access to block prosperity. Jesus explained that many chosen ones experience financial hardship because he is using them to break these generational cycles. By enduring the battle and relying on his power, they are severing these demonic ties, not just for themselves, but for future generations. Their struggle is part of a greater spiritual deliverance. Jesus then took me on a journey through my past. I saw the moments when I had been heartbroken over missed business deals, failed financial opportunities, and even relationships that ended unexpectedly. These were not losses. Jesus said they were my protection. He showed me what would have happened if those doors had opened. Wealth that would have drawn me away from my purpose, relationships that would have led me into destruction, and partnerships that would have compromised my faith. What seems like withholding is actually safeguarding, Jesus affirmed. Many of my chosen ones weep over what they believe they have lost, not realizing I have saved them from ruin. Jesus also revealed a scene where people who once proclaimed their love for God, but the moment they faced financial lack, their faith wavered. Some turned away, while others worshipped God only when he provided material blessings. In another vision, Jesus showed believers who once prayed fervently, but after receiving financial breakthroughs, drifted away. They no longer depended on God as they once did. Jesus explained that financial hardships refine faith, ensuring that his chosen ones remain steadfast in trust, even when provision is delayed. Jesus then shifted my focus to another revelation. He showed me a powerful demon called Mammon, a force assigned by the enemy to manipulate believers' understanding of wealth. I saw how this spirit deceives some into fearing wealth, making them believe that money itself is evil. Others, in contrast, idolized money, chasing riches while neglecting their spiritual life. Jesus emphasized that both extremes keep believers from managing God's resources correctly. He explained that wealth is neither good nor bad. It is a tool that must be surrendered to him. When used properly, finances advance God's kingdom, but when controlled by mammon, they become a trap leading to greed or fear. Jesus showed me another vision. Every financial hardship a believer faces is not wasted. In the spiritual realm, acts of faith like trusting God for daily provision, giving even in lack, and practicing contentment create glowing deposits in heaven. These unseen spiritual treasures far outweigh temporary struggles. Then I saw a refining process. Jesus said that those called to manage great wealth must first endure financial struggles. This testing season ensures that they develop character, humility, and wisdom to prevent future corruption. Some believers remain in this season longer because their calling requires greater responsibility. He said, I witnessed scenes of believers who had received wealth prematurely. Some abandoned their divine calling, left the places where God had assigned them, and became consumed with personal gain. Their prosperity became a distraction that pulled them away from their true mission. Jesus reassured me that, at times, financial struggles serve as divine positioning. What appears to be restriction is actually God, keeping his people in the right place at the right time. The most powerful testimonies often come from those who endured hardship and remained faithful, impacting countless lives. I saw a vision of the enemy whispering lies to believers, convincing them that tithing and giving are outdated or unnecessary. As people embraced these falsehoods, I saw a spiritual shift. Their financial blessings began to dry up, and unseen barriers were placed between them and provision. Jesus spoke with authority. Many of my people have shut the doors of their own blessings because they believe the lies of the enemy. He explained that when believers stop honoring God with their finances, they unknowingly grant demons legal access to interfere with their wealth. Giving is not just about money. It is a spiritual principle that keeps the flow of divine provision open. He spoke, "Look, Sarah," and suddenly I saw a vast field with seeds buried beneath the soil. Time passed, and rain fell, but the seeds did not sprout immediately. The waiting season was long, but under the surface, the roots were growing strong. Many of my chosen ones are in this season, an incubation period where faith, perseverance, patience, and wisdom are being cultivated. Jesus explained, the struggles they endure are shaping them for future influence. Then he showed me believers crying out for financial breakthroughs, unaware that their current struggles were investments in their spiritual growth. Jesus reassured me, I do not withhold financial blessings. I invest in my people. The delay is not denial, it is preparation. A new vision unfolded, and I saw the world's economic structures, banks, stock markets, corporations, and financial institutions. But beneath their foundations, I saw dark figures pulling invisible strings. Jesus said, the world's financial system is not neutral. It is designed to enslave, not to empower. He revealed how ungodly forces manipulate wealth, ensuring it remains concentrated in the hands of those who oppose God's kingdom. The wealth of the wicked is hoarded. Jesus said, the enemy does not want my people to prosper because financial freedom allows them to spread the gospel. He urged, do not put your trust in this broken system. Seek my kingdom strategies for provision, and I will supply all your needs. Next, Jesus revealed believers who were deeply anointed, yet struggling financially. These are my warriors in training, he explained. Their calling requires endurance, and their financial struggles are part of their preparation. I saw how these trials forced them to depend entirely on God. As they lacked earthly provision, they learned to walk in supernatural faith. Their prayers became more powerful, their discernment sharper, and their trust in God unshakable. Jesus said, what they gain in this season cannot be learned through comfort. This temporary lack is refining them for an eternal purpose. Then Jesus reminded me of Philippians 4 verse 12 to 13, where Paul said he had learned the secret of being content in any situation. He showed me a vision of believers with empty bank accounts, yet their faces glowed with peace and joy. These are my children who have found true freedom. Jesus said, they have discovered that wealth is not measured in currency, but in peace, faith, and obedience. I saw some of them receiving financial breakthroughs later, but they were not changed by wealth. Their hearts remained fixed on God, unshaken by prosperity or lack. Jesus smiled and said, these are the ones who can be trusted with much because they were faithful with little. As the visions faded, Jesus turned to me with a look of love and urgency. Sarah, you must share what I have shown you. My chosen ones need to understand that their being alone and financial struggles are not punishment, but part of my divine process, protection, preparation, and purification. Before I could respond, I felt myself being pulled away. Jesus reassured me, their breakthrough will come at the appointed time. Tell them to remain faithful. Then, in an instant, I gasped for breath. I was back in my body. Doctors and nurses surrounded me, their faces filled with shock. Later, I learned that I had been clinically dead for exactly 10 minutes and 5 seconds. And yet, miraculously, I had returned without any brain damage. I knew without a doubt that this experience was meant to be a testimony. I had seen firsthand that being alone and financial struggles are not a sign of God's abandonment, but a divine process leading to spiritual growth, faithfulness, and eternal rewards.